What's up, stackers? It's your boy GP with Zest Protocol and Stacking Now, tuning in for a little bit of an update this lovely Tuesday. We've got some really base news that I want to cover, and just taking a look at the Bitcoin chart. So we're taking a look at this daily time frame. It looks like we are still kind of hovering around above the 50-day moving average here. We are underneath the 21-day moving average. If you take a look at the stochastics RSI here, you can see that they have reset very nicely and are pointing to the upside with a bullish div on the daily time frame. Do we get that pump back up to around the 200 moving average, sitting around 70k, 71k for a 10% increase? Who knows? But the stochastics are saying yes, we are about to get a pump. We are still above the 200-day moving average on the weekly time frame, but barely hanging on there. So I would like to see it stay above this 200-day moving average on the weekly time frame, potentially get a close above it, and this candle closes in 5 days and 7 hours, as well as this daily momentum start to pick up. Stochastics RSI is a momentum indicator, right? And I would also like to see this price action get back above the 21-day moving average that you see here in red. Moving on into the news, I just wanted to show you a couple things that I found across my timeline here. Munib is back in the trenches, right? Base founder, activated in the trenches, handling the business and spreading his thoughts. So working on getting the community activated and aligned ahead of self-custodial staking for Bitcoin, and many other awesome upgrades. We have the Satoshi upgrades. We just had our hard fork, right? So that is one of 3 upgrades for the Satoshi upgrades for the Stacks network. Ahead of self-custodial Bitcoin staking, the ecosystem is getting ready. So I'd love to see Munib posting. I will push this to the top of my timeline for you guys to go check it out. That is at GPSC_STX. From the Zest Protocol handle here, so talking a little bit of Stacks Vaults again here. So Stacks Vaults automate the full loop, SBTC in, stBTC minted, posted as collateral, borrowed, and staked. From Stacy Murr here, just a really based breakdown on the first Zest Stacks Vault, which will be the stBTC yield loop here. So looping is about to be available for Bitcoin for the first time. It is a big reason staked ETH became so widely used across Ethereum lending. So let me walk you through what looping is, why Bitcoin never had it, and what changes for the BTC ecosystem. What is looping? So looping is simple to understand. You basically use a liquid stacking token as collateral to borrow the base asset, stake that borrowed asset to mint more of the liquid token, and repeat. Each turn adds more staking yield on the same starting capital. On Ethereum, this became the default way to farm staked ETH, but it only works if 3 things exist at once: native yield, liquid token that represents it, lending market deep enough to borrow through. So Bitcoin's missing piece. Bitcoin never had the full setup needed for looping. Wrapped BTC, like WBTC, gave users exposure to Bitcoin price, but it did not earn native yield. Without a yield-bearing BTC asset, borrowing against it only added leverage. So looping never took off on Bitcoin because it lacked the yield source, liquid token, and lending market needed to make it work. The Stacks ecosystem is expected to give all 3 when Bitcoin staking and stBTC launch. The new BTC looping strategy. So Zest Protocol is preparing for an automated looping strategy for when stBTC goes live. This is how it works. So you use stBTC as collateral, borrow SBTC against it, stake the borrow SBTC into more stBTC, repeat the loop automatically. The idea is to earn the base staking yield on a larger position, which is how Zest aims to lift the overall yield to roughly 6 to 8%, which is pretty good for Bitcoin denominated yield there. Still, it's great to have a choice. Bitcoin holders now can choose between the lower risk base yield or aim for a higher yield through an automated loop. The BTC ecosystem has come a long way this year. Disclosure, I'm a longtime STX holder and Stack supporter. So if you take a look at this graph here, you can also see the different loops and how the total exposure changes over the different loops, all the way to the 14th loop where you are, 5.45x on your original position. So very cool. I love this breakdown from Stacy Murr, and you guys should definitely give her a follow.